Hey everyone, welcome to our pilot version of Therapy with Gwen and Brian. I completely forgot. Gwen put this on my calendar last week for 3 p.m. Eastern, so I'm glad that we backed it up to 4 Eastern? What is the time? Just 1 o'clock your time now?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yep.
So this is going to be nothing political. It's going to be kind of fast-paced, and we're going to cover all kinds of subject matters. I have questions. I'm sure you're going to have questions to my answers probably. So my first thing is, okay, let's go to this. When I ask you, how are you?
Uh-huh. How am I? Oh,
I wanted, yeah.
I'm
because let me explain to the audience why I'm asking this. Gwen and I are complete opposites. I'm like math and like numbers, and she's writing in English. Obviously, she's an author. She just published her first book called A Place Remote. You can get it at bookshop.org along with other places. I'm sure there's actually one story I want to discuss with her later on in our therapy session because it deals with my life kind of. But so I always thought that, not even me, I would say 90% of the population thinks that when you ask someone how they are, if you answer, I'm good, that's wrong. And I was always thought to think that like you're supposed to say I'm well. So then when people would answer I'm good, I'd be like, oh, they don't know their English. So okay. Gwen, please clarify, because I am completely wrong in my thinking, and you obviously have degrees from everywhere in English and writing. So if I ask you how are you, what is the proper answer?
Well, here's when someone says I'm well, what it's saying is I'm doing well. So well is an adverb and good is an adjective. So that's why they think it's wrong. Okay, I am good. Good isn't modifying anything when you say I'm good. So that's why.
So technically
I'm doing well is the implied verb in that sentence. So it is I'm well.
So if I were to say how are you doing, the proper answer is I'm well, right?
Yes, I'm doing well. How are you? Well. I'm good is not technically correct, but also I sometimes speak grammatically incorrectly because it sounds kind of, snooty or whatever. So I'll do the regular old speech sometimes too. And then sometimes people will correct me. And
so someone, right. And that, I read that in one of your interviews somewhere, people like to correct you and you're like, well, actually you are correct. You know what I mean? Like in what you say.
Yeah.
So when is I am good? When is I am good? Okay. Or it's not ever good. It's not ever okay.
Well, it's supposed to be, I am a good
doing well.
I am a good person, or I am good. The good is, but also it's a linking verb. So I don't know, it's getting too technical for me, but the am is a linking verb. So you can, I think technically use good, but it just sounds more proper to say I'm well. So at any rate.
So I can continue that I'm well.
Yeah, I'm well. You can say that.
I'm doing.
If you want to be grammatically correct and sound grammatically correct, it's I'm well. But if you just want to, go around just being casual and how you talk, you can say I'm good.
I don't ever say I'm good, ever.
I judge people more when they get.
And I judge people
when they get the object or prepositions wrong. That's when I get annoyed. When someone says, between you and I, that's wrong. It's between you and me. So.
See, whenever anyone says I'm good, I judge them.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, that's not correct.
Yeah.
Maybe it is correct.
So, everyone's got their thing, I guess is the answer to that.
They do have their thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna touch on relationships, okay? That's what I kind of want to discuss with you today.
Oh, okay.
Because I have that's kind of like what is in my mind I want to discuss. And I know we've touched on it via text because I can never get you on screen. I don't know how to phrase this. Like, do you believe that some people are meant to be single forever? Like, what is your take on that?
Um, I don't know about what is meant and what isn't meant. I think people make choices and,
Because
you know, maybe people choose to be single forever. I don't know if we're meant to be one way or another. That's my answer.
just like in my regular therapy, I'm so rude. I'm like answering text messages. She's like, hello. So let me turn this off or down. My thought is that I enjoy being single and that I want to stay single.
Okay.
And your responses to me are what normally?
No, you don't.
And why do you say that?
I say that because you cry through a whole season of Schitt's Creek and you love the videos of Tom and what's his name?
Tom and
What's the other guy's name?
what's his name? You should know him. He's a writer like you are. Lance.
Lance. Yeah.
Dustin. But Lance, I think, is his middle name.
Oh, right. Okay.
How terrible! I watch him all the time.
I know. But you're watching for
Lance
him.
Black or something.
You're not watching for him.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
So, Tom Daly and his husband. Yes, I do enjoy watching them. I send you way too many videos about them, right? And I cry through Schitt's Creek, and that tells you that I want to be in a relationship.
I think you do. I think you do. I think a lot of people do. And an easy way to kind of deflect from that, or if that's not happening, is just say, well, I just want to be single. That's what I want. But I think,
We need to clear.
What?
No, I just can't stop seeing these things coming out of my head, and it's not a hairpiece I'm wearing today. It's a plant behind me. And it looks
a little Whoville coming out of your hair. The Grinch's Whoville.
And I just got my first pimple at 41, so I think I just hit puberty. I swear to God, I've always had zero pimples.
There's no way.
It's my first one. It's right here. I promise you.
Okay.
I mean, I have flawless skin. Duh.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, use Neosporin on it.
Neosporin, that's the trick.
Yeah, or bacitracin. That's the trick. Just clears up the bacteria in there. Anyway. So, do I think people are meant to be single? I think, no. I think that sometimes that's just the path life takes, or it's the path they take. So, I mean, I do know there are people in my life who are single and older, and they just
happy.
Yeah. Yes and no. Not the same for everyone.
So you and I did analyze basically some of the content of like the Tom and Lance videos, and I think your comment to me was obviously like that was production, right? Like they went through it, they made sure that they were putting out there like this beautiful relationship.
Yes.
And I agreed, because I was like, it did seem, you know what I'm saying? Like they've been married now for 4 years, or they've been together for like 7, but every video is like sunshine and rainbows flying out of their ass, right?
Cutesy. It's kind of cutesy. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. And then my comeback to you about the Schitt's Creek thing is that it's like a written story.
Yeah.
And then, so I've been in 4, what I would consider long-term relationships, like each of them for 3 years.
Okay.
And I think I'm pretty much sabotaged them on purpose.
Yeah, that's what, yeah.
Why do people do that? Why?
Oh, they're afraid, generally.
Of what? What am I afraid of? I don't understand.
Of maybe that's not the right person for me, or if I stay with one person, is this who I am? Or they're afraid of like losing freedom, or just losing themselves and forming a new identity. Because when you are in a long-term relationship, you become your own, a 2-person identity in some ways. So,
which is what I love about the Schitt's Creek couple, right? Because they were like one unit.
yeah,
And to clarify for everyone else, you've been married, I think, for 12 years. Is that correct?
16.
16 years.
Yeah.
And what marriage is this for you? No, it's your first.
My first.
What's that?
Yeah, my first. Yeah.
Your first marriage.
We'll see. First of.
So every relationship is different, but would you say there's what would you say are your hardest years? Like in my mind, I think I was brainwashed to think like years 7 and 8 are the worst. Is that true? Do you think?
Well, we had 3 kids, so kids at a whole new level, and that makes things a lot harder in relationships, because then I always say with your first kid, what you have to come to terms with is a whole new identity, both of you, and as you're not your own individual. I always say you're not the protagonist of your own story anymore. There's someone else. They are the first person that needs to be taken care of in your life. So that's the hardest with the first kid. So having kids with someone
and then what,
is difficult.
Tell me what changes with adding a second child, if anything.
Then the second child is just physical labor, like having 2, not everyone has 2 young kids at once, but it's just sweat. You're just like working and round the clock, and it's tough. It's really tough. Yeah.
And then you had a third daughter. So what does that bring to the equation?
That's it's kind of more like you throw up your hands and you're like, I'm not gonna.
Like,
I can't keep up with any of this, so I'm just gonna keep up with none of it.
Right.
So you just, I did describe it. I described it to someone as like you're like treading water in like a pond or something, and like this much is out of the water. You're
with
just
3 kids.
Yeah, it's like that. It's this much is out of the water, and the older they get, like a little bit more comes out. But yeah.
So how much of your head is out of the water
I'd
now?
say it's out. She's like
That's good.
My youngest is in kindergarten now, so half day, 4 days a week. But yeah.
That's good. And are you guys on virtual learning? Well, just to clarify, I'm coming to you live from Coldwater, Michigan, and Gwen is in Encinitas. How do you say it?
Encinitas,
California, so just a little bit north of San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are in like shutdown mode, right? Or no?
We are, but the schools are open. I'm in like a little school district inside of Encinitas.
Okay.
And our school, because it's so small, has done this hybrid learning where they go, half the class goes to school in the morning and half in the afternoon, and they do Zoom pullouts like for music and stuff like that. So
what would so I'm talking to a lot of my friends, and like I mean, this virus now has been around for like 9 months in the United States, right? Like 9 or 10. Which I want to say, by the way, is interesting, because when I was in Santo Domingo last November, December, January, they were discussing it there already in December. And then I went down to the Farmacia, which is on the first floor of my building, and I bought all the masks they had. And the woman was like, in Spanish, she was like, why are you doing all this? But the news there was very just factual about this pandemic that was coming, and everyone's going to get it. And then I could access some United States news, but it was nowhere on the radar.
Right.
So by the time I flew home, I entered the airport with my mask on, and some flight attendants that had come from like other countries are wearing masks, and everyone looked at me like I was crazy. They're like, why is he's white and he's wearing a mask? You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
it was really weird. But where I was going with that is the difference in a marriage right now with people like working from home. Like a lot of my friends are having problems because they're never around their loved one like that often.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm super independent.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be controlled at all. So like I could never.
Right.
I don't know. How do you deal with that when you're used to your independence and now your loved one's at home all the time?
Well, yeah, it's been a big change for us because my husband travels a lot for work. Um,
A
so,
lot meaning like days or like weeks or months or like what was a
um,
lot?
you know, 3 days a week, twice a month, at least.
Okay.
Yeah, at least that was the minimum. Um, and so, yeah, it was, but then because work shifted, he was working like 12-hour days at home, and this is
Yeah.
where he works, this is his office. So he was just kind of shut up in here for 12-hour days. So we weren't really on top of each other. We're lucky to not be in like a small apartment like some people, or just confined inside. So, and plus we're in California, so we can kind of like get out and walk around. So it hasn't
That's true.
been terrible. Yeah.
I do get jealous when I call you sometimes and you're outside in the sunshine and I'm just like, nice. It's like gray here.
Yeah.
And this will be the first time. It's December. This is the first time I've ever been in the United States since the last election for December.
Mm.
So I'm having a tough time with like depression, anxiety. I mean, a lot of people get seasonal depression too.
Yeah.
But also like living alone with my poodle in the middle of nowhere probably doesn't help things that much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Looks like the vaccines are coming soon.
Yeah.
Next topic that I thought was interesting was somewhere I had read or heard, and I'm kind of copying a different interview that I saw with you.
Okay.
You and I have traveled a lot. We've seen lots of places, countries,
Yeah.
cities.
Yeah.
So I want to know where's your favorite place in the world? We'll start there, simple.
That's hard.
I asked the question, I don't even have an answer, so let me think too.
Okay.
Favorite place?
Favorite place, visual wise or in feeling and just vibe, was Bali, actually, in Indonesia. It was just like very peaceful, and they had, stepped rice fields, and it was just really, really pretty. And I just think of that place and I just think of, they have what they call flags, but they're made out of, it's not straw, but it's like natural looking flags, and they kind of just hang over like this, and they sway in the wind, and it just makes a really nice sound. And I just found Bali really, really lovely. But one of my favorite places in terms of the people was Ireland. Love them.
It's so interesting that you say that because there is a complete difference between like a favorite place and then like people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Irish were really, really nice to us, at least. So they're really friendly and wanted to talk, and really kind. So I liked them, and just really interesting people to talk to too, and so much flavor to their language. And I don't know, it was fun. Yeah. What
My
about you?
favorite place? So my cousin and I, we spent 2 months in Tulum, and I'm not talking like Tulum actually isn't on the water. Like you have to like go like 4 or 5 kilometers west to get to Tulum, but we like took it all the way to the water and then went south until the road stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And we were at this really nice place. But Tulum was so peaceful and like freeing, and there was no stress, and obviously we didn't have our phones on us, and if we did, you didn't have service. We didn't have our laptops, or we couldn't even access our laptops if we did. And it was fun going to town of Tulum, which is super small, like for the restaurants, because I had never been to an authentic Mexican restaurant before,
Mm-hmm.
where I'm like recalling like a plate of like some of your tacos, but then everyone has like a walkthrough buffet where there's like all these things that you put on your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a big like family, even though no one knows each other. It felt like so comfortable, and then there was like music playing and everyone's partying and laughing. Like it was just really, really cool. So I think my favorite place would be Tulum.
Yeah. There's a song, and when you say Tulum, I'm like, Tulum, 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 Tulum. There's a Spanish, like a Mexican song. I can't remember the whole thing, but
Do you have a favorite place in Mexico? Because I think you've been there quite often, right? Or no?
Here and there. Yeah.
Nothing.
Not as often as I should. There's something called the Century Pass that you can get where it's a fast pass from the US to Mexico, and but you have to apply and go to an interview in person, and we've never gotten it together for that. We've never.
You have to prove you're not part of the cartel.
What?
Do you have to prove that you're not part of the cartel? Because that'd be perfect.
No, they just have to authenticate that you're who you say you are and all that. So we've never gotten we're a disorganized family is all I can say. So.
And how far are you from the border? Like if you were to drive there, how far is your drive?
Probably about 40, 45 minutes.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, maybe not even. Maybe depends on traffic, obviously. Anywhere from about 35 minutes to about an hour and a half.
So you're super close if you wanted to go.
Yeah.
Most underwhelming place you've ever been based on your thoughts, or the opposite. Actually, let's do both.
Based on what I expected it to be.
Yeah, like let's go on like preconceived notions first of the place that was completely not what you expected, because I've got one that sticks out like crazy.
Why don't you go first so I can think if you've already got one?
So mine was I want to say 2011. My boss came to me and offered me a job in Kansas City, and I said, I'm not moving to Kansas. And he's like, well, that's great because it's in Missouri. And I honestly, like, I'm very educated. I did not know there's a Kansas City, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. And they're basically like, they're basically connected, but there's one on both sides, right?
Yeah.
What? So he flew me there for like a weekend with my boyfriend, Aaron, and Kansas City blew me away. Like, it is the most hip, like fashion and like martini bars and the way people dress and shop and the culture and the restaurants and the people and the diversity.
Wow.
It like no one would ever guess. It's like the best big little city I've ever been to in my life. I could live there, and the weather was like fantastic. The weather's perfect there. Huh. So that's my Kansas City plug. I was actually happy. I was shocked. What's yours?
Well, similar to that, Salt Lake City downtown is actually pretty cool. It's like that too. I was shocked.
I've never been there.
I was shocked. I was like, oh, there's like a vegan restaurant and there's people riding around on bikes everywhere and there's diversity, and I was not expecting that at all. Now, if you go to the suburbs, which my husband and I did once on our way out to Park City to go skiing, we stopped at this Indian restaurant. That was interesting because we were like the only people in there drinking. We got beer. We were the only people drinking beer. Everyone else had water, like the whole restaurant.
Now, some of those places, there's dry counties, right? Or dry states. Can you buy?
Yeah.
There, don't drink.
It's weird. You have to, like, if you go to Utah, you have to be part of some alcohol club to go to a bar, and someone from the club has to let you in. I don't know.
Sign me up. I'm just kidding.
That's weird. So I don't understand the point of it, but whatever.
So you have some family in New York. I've been to New York several times for work, never for fun.
Yeah.
And somewhere you had said you were surprised. What were you surprised about New York? Something.
I was surprised at, I thought New York people would be all like dressed to the nines all the time, you know, just wearing like designer clothes and all dressed up and all black, you know, and that wasn't really the case in New York. It's more, I feel like that's more the case in LA actually, which is a stereotype to me. You know, like it seems like, you know, everyone expects people in LA to dress up for the beach and people in New York to be in like power suits. And I think it's the opposite. So I was surprised by that.
After being a Sex and the City addict, I would expect New York and Manhattan, everyone to be like in Manila Blahniks and
right,
super trendy stuff.
All right, this is saying we have 8 minutes left in the meeting, which is strange because there's only 2 of us, and usually you have to have 3 people for the timer to be on, but that's what it's saying.
Okay, so then if we are winding down, I want to go to part of your book that was called A Month of Summer.
Here's the book. Can you see it?
Kind of. I see a place remote.
Yeah.
I have several copies. I gave some away, and then my memory, I left 2 at my brother's house, and I knew we had this call today. Yeah. But no, so where in the world, or why in the world, or how in the world did you come up with writing a story from the point of view of a closeted gay man or gay boy, I guess?
Gosh, that's a great question, and I can't even remember how.
I know, and I say this, and I know you yell at me because I overuse quotation marks, but like,
I never yell. That's not true.
That is, you are correct. You don't ever yell.
Okay.
I'm like the psychotic one.
Okay.
Yeah. How did
you know, it's so strange. I wrote this story so long ago. I started the story.
At what age do you think did you start it?
I brought it with me to the Tin House workshop in 2007. So that was when I started, 2007. And I think I didn't start writing it with him as a closeted gay character, but I realized as I was writing it that that's what his situation was. So that's the answer to that, which no one else has asked me, by the way. So that's interesting.
I'm so intrigued by that because, well, people all over the country or world will see this, but so the book is loosely based, and it's a fictional book written about, we both come from the same hometown in Northwest Ohio. I'm a 97 graduate of Ottawa Glenarp High School, and Gwen is 1994, right? Correct. And we didn't know each other at all. Somehow I connected with you when I was in Santo Domingo. You posted something and I shared it, and then I don't even know how that all happened, but
probably something political.
which we said we were not discussing.
Well, it
was probably political, and I think you thanked me for something, and I don't even know.
Yeah.
Went on a tangent somewhere.
Gay rights. Gay rights are human rights. Gay rights are human rights. Let's go.
Gay rights are human rights. I was shocked that you had written that chapter, but I did read somewhere too that you always feel like you're telling someone else's story for them. Did I misread that somewhere?
This story, I did live with a family in Germany, but I wasn't there for a whole year. It's funny because I sent this story before it was published to an editor that I had a relationship with, and he wrote me back and he's like, well, just publish it as an essay. It's nonfiction. And I laughed because I'm like, there's something on every single page that is made up, that I made up. Every single page. And I'm like, and he's a guy, you know, like, no, this isn't an essay. So I did live with a family, but it was me and 2 sisters. So, you know,
there was no gay boy or a closeted person there.
No, but I knew guys, and I still know guys. I think there are guys my age who are still closeted. I know guys my age who are still closeted. So, and I think it's a lot of it is self-preservation and protection, especially if you're in a small town. It can be dangerous. So, or you can, you know, lose your job, or, I mean, that's reality. So I'm not here to judge any of that. People do what they need to do to survive. So, but this is the slowest story in the collection. It's very slow because I
didn't find it slow, and you told me it's going to be a slow read.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly, didn't it start out with him on a horse or something?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
See, and I ride horses, and I love horses, and I read it from actually being in my hometown as a closeted gay boy, right? Like, 'cause he's like a younger person on a horse. And I was like, so for me, I was like instantly into it. And you're like, this is going to be slow. Like, just give it a chance. And I loved every minute of it.
Oh, okay. I've gotten feedback from people who said, it was kind of slow. They liked the other stories. They didn't like this one. So,
the thing I find most intriguing about your book, though, is that everyone will connect with certain stories.
Yes, that's
there's 10 or 11 stories. There's 10 stories.
Yeah, 10.
And I would say my favorite is, my first favorite would be The Month of Summer. My second favorite would be The Key. Like, that story I think everyone can identify with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to even go into it, but I promise you everyone's dealt with it, or their best friend has.
Yeah.
And you could even have a role reversal, right? Like, maybe it's the mom or the dad, but it's a complete relatable to everybody.
Yeah.
So that's a super good one. We have 2 minutes left. I'm going to give them to you. Where can they find your book? I know you can go to gwengoodkin.com. I think when we actually post this, we're going to have a link, right? Or something. How are we going to do this?
Yeah. You can find it everywhere where books are sold. If you're in Northwest Ohio, Gathering Volumes in Toledo has signed copies. They're book plates. They're basically stickers that I signed that they put in the book. And then there's signed copies at Chevalier's in Los Angeles. And I'm just about to go sign some copies in Encinitas at Barnes & Noble.
And your people were supposed to send me signed copies, and I haven't received them yet.
My people have them in the back of my car and need to take the box and address it and take it to the post office. So my people are gonna get to it.
That's good. Plus, shipping is slow right now. It's almost Christmas.
Yeah, but my people promise to get your books to your people.
Thank you. My people would love to have them. That's great. Thanks for spending some time with me on your Saturday. What is it? 1:30?
Yeah.
2:30? 1:30?
Let's see. 1:30. Yeah. Yeah.
All the kids
always.
Home with you now.
Of course. We have good chat sessions that you guys are missing out on that we can't record. So.
And see, I want her to go like uncut, like raw with me, but we can't because there's too many things that need filtered, and I don't have a filter, and she does not have a filter.
Right.
I don't.
So, we'll just have to keep that between us.
That's right, just between us.
Yeah.
There's your 30 seconds. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, I do want to put this on my YouTube page, and then I'm gonna post it to my Facebook if you feel it's okay.
Yeah.
Our first therapy session, and I'm gonna think about this me wanting to be single thing, because I still think I want to be single.
I don't think you do. I think it's just a flight situation or nervousness to commit or something.
Counting down 4, 3. Thank you.